he said to me very, very seriously, if you do this, your car will get towed. Earlier this week, I experienced what was probably one of the most embarrassing things in my life, and I think it forever has changed my perspective on something. And I want to share the story with you for two reasons, both of which I'll tell you after we share the story.
Because it'll make more sense then.
It'll make a lot more sense then. Earlier this week, I was eating lunch and I got a phone call. Now, I don't usually pick up my phone during lunch, especially when I have meetings later in the day, because I want to be able to get back to my meetings, and usually when I'm taking a break, I'm trying to take a break. But this particular phone call left a message and they said, "Hi, this is a sheriff from the county that you live in, and we need you to call us back immediately regarding urgent legal matters." Now, this is not a phone call that I get frequently, and so I decided I should probably call them back and see what they needed. So I did. And thus began a long sequence of events that led to what I am now telling you. When I called them back, they again confirmed, "I am a sheriff from the county you live in, and you have missed a court hearing where you were subpoenaed as an expert witness for a client who has been seeing you in your counseling practice." Now, this is a very believable thing. It could happen, and I have no idea how it works because it hasn't happened in my life.
As in you getting subpoenaed. Someone's calling me. It's probably a scam. You getting subpoenaed to appear in court would be a very realistic thing.
Yeah.
Like, that will happen to you at some point.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet, but it will.
Yeah. And when that happens, I have no idea how that's supposed to work. I don't know if they call you to tell you about that. I know that you're supposed to get like letter notifications, but if you missed it, in theory, that means you missed the letter. Very believable. So, in addition to just giving me that information over the phone, which, again, very distinct, very personal to me, they also said a few other things. They said, "You can't tell anyone what's going on, because if you tell anyone, then legal action can be taken against them." They said I need to head down to the station right away. They said if I don't do that, I'll probably lose my counseling license and therefore lose your ability to do your job. If you don't head down immediately, you'll be charged as a criminal and therefore will spend time in jail. This will be part of your permanent record and it will be a big, terrible thing. So all of this is right there at the forefront of my mind. And so in response to all of that, I said, okay, I can cooperate with this. It doesn't seem like it's that big a deal yet, although it seems like it could be if I don't do anything. And as I was getting ready to leave, he said, "Now before you drive away, there's a few other things we need to talk about." This is where it starts getting interesting. The first thing he said was that the judge is being gracious with you because you missed this hearing, and if you didn't know about it, we want to be gracious with you and not charge you if you can confirm that it wasn't you. But in order to do that, we're also going to need you to post bail. Now, I know very little about posting bail. I will be honest. I know more now. But at the time he said, in order to post bail, we're going to actually need you to go and do that before you go to the sheriff's department. Huge red flag. Again, didn't know. Now I do. But my fear-ridden brain, that was kind of like, I don't want all these consequences, he's saying, said, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. And so I started driving. As I'm driving, he's explaining to me all of the steps of the process to actually post bail. And part of what he said was that the US government, who I'm posting bail to, no longer accepts credit card payments for this because of fraud, ironically. And because of that, I need to go to the bank and get cash, and then I need to take my cash and go to a retail location, as in a store, just a random store, and buy electronic vouchers, which, you know, when you call an electronic voucher, it's like, okay, I guess that makes sense. I don't know what that is, but
Sounds good.
we'll do it, I guess. Throughout this whole time, I'm asking questions to him in pauses to like learn about him. I'm a counselor, that's what I do. And he's saying things that aren't lining up, but I'm still kind of like, whatever, I guess maybe his life just doesn't make sense. A great example of that is I asked him how long he's been doing his job. He said 12 years. I said, are you on patrol or at a desk? He said, I've been at a desk for 8 years, but I don't enjoy it. And it was just a thing. He gave a bunch of dates and it was like, that doesn't make sense. And I said that, and he was just kind of like, and changed the subject. So, it's fine. It's fine. So I'm going to the bank, and he says, when you get to the bank, you're gonna get this money out. And here's another big red flag. He said, if they ask you what the money's for, don't tell them. Because if you tell them, they will call the police, because they will get a reward if they turn you into the police, because there's a warrant out for your arrest. Again, fear brain is like, oh, that makes sense. My brain now is like, seriously? Really? So I go to the bank, get money out of the bank, $5,000, which is a lot of money. And then he says, okay, now I need you to go to the store. So I went to the store and went in, and he had sent me, he had texted my phone a picture of the electronic vouchers, which again should have been another warning sign because it was like this very low resolution, fuzzy picture and says, this is what you're looking for. This is what you want to go in there and buy. $5,000 of these. And I go into the store and I'm like, okay, this is probably something that I go and buy from like the customer service desk, because that's where you get electronic vouchers. And I walk in and ask an employee, and he looks over at the gift card rack and I'm like, that's weird. It seems weird that I would pay the government in gift cards, but still my fear-ridden brain is like,
I don't want to be arrested.
I don't want to be arrested. We'll keep going along with this for now. I mean, I haven't done anything yet that's like irreversible. So I go to an employee and I said, I need to buy $5,000 of these. And the employee says, okay, I think I can do that. I might need the manager's approval for it, but we can do that. And so he did. He got the manager who came out and helped him sell me these things. During that process, the computer gave a bunch of warning signs saying like, this seems like it could be working up to a scam. And the manager said, this seems like it could be a scam. And I said, oh no, this is totally above board. This is legitimate. I'm doing this for personal use.
You were on the phone with the guy still?
Yeah, I had my phone out, like on the phone with him the whole time. He wasn't talking at this point. He was just listening. Again, red flags. But my brain is still in this mode of like, I'm afraid of everyone. Everyone is going to like attack me or arrest me or report me or problems. And so I just need to cooperate and do what he says to avoid any of that bad stuff happening. So despite all of everyone's warnings, I bought the vouchers. And then it gets better. I take them out into the car, and it was a hot day. It was a very hot day. So at this point, the car's been sitting in the parking lot for a while in the sun. So it's like probably 85 or 90 degrees in the car. So that's already uncomfortably warm. I get in, and this is where the biggest red flag, that was the red flag that broke the camel's back, came in. The guy on the phone said, I need you to take the vouchers, scratch off the thing on the back, and read me the access codes so that we can verify that you're sending them. But you can't use your fingernail, you have to use a coin. And I heard that and was like...
You also initially had thought you were gonna be mailing them somewhere.
Well, he told me I was mailing them. He had me buy envelopes. I bought it. I have some manila envelopes now if anybody needs one. And he was like, you need a coin, get the coin. And I was like, I don't have a coin, I'll look for a coin. Hold on a second. That was what I said. I actually had no idea if there was a coin in the car. But I said that to bluff because... You know, since he was on the phone, I needed to bluff to do what I wanted to do, which also doesn't make sense. But while he was waiting for me to find a coin, I went on Google and I Googled what was happening to me. And the top result in all capital letters says, this is a scam, do not give the access codes, do not give your $5,000 to this person. They are not the government. And I read that, and that was enough for my brain to be like, hold up. Emotions, let's get in check. Cognitive brain, let's take over again. And so I said to him, I was like, I just Googled this. It says this is a scam. And he was like, no, this is not a scam. I am legitimately an employee of the government. You are going to be arrested. And it seems like you're not cooperating anymore. So just tell me where you are and I'll send some officers to come pick you up. And I said, no, I think this is a scam. And as much as I want to believe you, I did say that, I want to believe you. But it doesn't seem right. And I think I need confirmation that it's real. And so he said, I'll call you back from the like confirmable like sheriff's phone number from the station instead of his like personal number. Another red flag. And I was like, no, I think I need like somebody flesh and blood, and I'm close to a police station, and so I'm just gonna go there. And he said, no, don't do that. If you go there, they're going to arrest you. And I was like, I have a hard time believing they would do that. I'm trying to cooperate, obviously. And he said, they're gonna arrest you. And at this point, I think he was getting really mad because I had gotten him very close to getting paid, and now he was not getting paid. And so he was losing his ability to be the con man that he is. If you haven't figured it out, this is a scam. And so
What?
Shocking, I know.
Scam?
They probably figured it out before I did. You probably knew before it even happened to me.
Probably
Anyways.
in the title of the video.
That's fair. So I'm going, and he's getting more and more threatening. He's basically saying, you're gonna get arrested, you're gonna lose everything. He's reminding me all the things that he said already. And then threat that he made as his like big deal threat after all of the you're gonna get arrested threats stopped working. He said to me very, very seriously, if you do this, your car will get towed. Which I'm like, dude, I'm from Chicago, do your research. Every car in Chicago has been towed at least once, if not more times. It's fine.
Not ours, but...
Our car is actually not been towed. Please don't tow it.
But it would be a disaster.
He said that, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And he was just kind of like, what? Uh-huh. And I think that caught him off guard for a minute. And then I arrived at the police station and I said, I'm going to the police station. He said, you can't do that. And I said, this is me trying to reason with this person. I said, you told me that if I go on federal property, I will get arrested. But this is a state police department because it's not owned by federal, so it's not actually federal property, it's state property. So I'm gonna go onto this property. Me really standing up for myself. And he was just kind of like, if you do that, you're gonna get arrested. And I was like, I'll take my chances. And I walked into the police station. I walked up to the front desk at the teller window.
Still on the phone with him.
Still on the phone, still talking. And a lovely lady came and was like, what can I do for you? And I said, I have a person here on the phone who's telling me I'm going to be arrested for missing a court date and that I need to post bail. And she said, I think that's a scam. How are you supposed to post bail? And I held up my bag of gift cards and she looked at me and shook her head and said, that's a scam. And I was like, but it sounds very real. And she said, no. And so I said, will you talk to him? And she said, sure. So I handed her my phone under the barrier and she talked to him. And he tried to argue with her. Like she was asking him like, what's your badge number? Like, tell me about you. And everything that she asked, he would just turn around and ask her. Except she was smart and didn't answer. She would be like, no, like I'm not answering that, like you answer. So finally, she's like, look, if you want to send the officers to come pick him up, you do that. We'll keep him here for a little while and you send the officers. And as she was saying this, she was like, we're not doing that, we're not doing that. As in she was telling me that. But she's saying that to him and then she was like, okay, bye. And she handed me back the phone and I hung up on him. And then I stood there and like took a few minutes to kind of decompress and shake and let the anxiety that had welled up in the last 10 minutes of that conversation come out. And she was very nice and kind of talked me down and was like, yes, this is a thing that happens all the time. It's really sad. I've heard of people losing up to $18,000 in situations like this. And she just kind of stood there and let me be anxious and work through some of the feelings that I was experiencing. Because it was terrifying. Like in the middle, it was like, okay, this is happening. But by the end, he was just blatantly, directly threatening me, which doesn't feel good. Even if it's a person on the phone, even if it's not real, when your brain tells you something is real, it feels very real and your body responds as if it's real. So at the end of our conversation, she said, if you go back to the store, you may be able to get them to refund you the money for the gift cards, or you may be just stuck with $5,000 of these gift cards. And so I went back to the store and I have to say, the store employees were amazing. They were incredibly gracious when I came in, hat in hand, and humbly said, remember all those red flags that you warned me about? I did not listen. And the manager of the store pointed to the rack of gift cards, and in two different large places on there, there is a big sign that says, the IRS, the government will never ask you to buy gift cards. Don't do it.
Had you not seen that?
And I had not read that.
At all.
Literally big signs right there. Like I would have been standing about this far from a sign. It was humbling. It was very humbling. And the store manager was incredibly kind and gracious, and he has worked with me and they're giving me a refund and it is all good. The reason I am sharing this story, even though it is incredibly embarrassing, is that there are so many pieces to this that I didn't know before this. Like all of the details about like, they won't call you. They'll just come arrest you. I called the sheriff later and they were like, yeah, honey, we're not gonna call you before we arrest you if there's a warrant for your arrest. We will come and arrest you. And that is the first you'll hear of it. And I want people to know details about how these things happen because I was this close to getting scammed by this. And I consider myself a fairly normal individual. I think that we don't realize how when there's a this was a very personal scam designed for me by this person who obviously had researched me, researched what I'd done. They knew my job, they knew addresses, everything. And so they were able to cater directly to me, and all of the threats, all of the fears that they were pulling out are very much connected to what I do. And to things where it's like, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that piece of it because it's never happened. Now I know, but I didn't before. And I think most of the time when this happens to people, they don't talk about it because it's embarrassing. And I think that's why it happens so much, because we don't realize how much it happens. I will tell you right now that having shared this a few times already, shared it on TikTok, everybody seems to know somebody who this has happened to, but nobody talks about it until someone else does. And so I'm talking about it because I want people to talk about it, because it upsets me to a great degree that there are people who make their living by scamming other people out of money. And the more we talk about it, the less that will happen. And that is why we shared the story. So if you know someone or think you're gonna get scammed, share this with them. And we appreciate you listening. Thank you for coming along on this very different Santa's House episode. And next time, we will see you for something more fun, like our Mother's Day celebration. And until then, we hope you have a fantastic day, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are, whenever it is. Bye.
Bye.